How about this? To win the historic first ever Casey Mears Picture of the Week, go to the INC page, speedtv.com, send an email via the link, put the number 25 on the subject line. That, of course, is the winning car number. One entry per email address, please. We do have people who check on stuff like that. Welcome back, discussing the Coke 600 with Biffle and Waltrip. High time, I think, we talk about Junior. We haven't talked about Junior yet. Junior has a flat tire at this point in the race that made things look rather grim for the 8 car. This is lap 151.
The reason why we haven't brought up Junior yet is because it's not ratings week. So
plus we couldn't see him with all that camouflage.
He had a flat tire and they got a lap down, but he had a fast car, Dave. He was able to get that sucker back.
Jimmy Johnson passing Vickers for the lead. In its previous 8 races at Lowe's Motor Speedway, the 48 had finished third once, second twice, and won 5 times. You've got a memory for stuff like this. Do you recall anybody ever having put together a streak like that at this racetrack?
Back in the 70s with Pearson in the 21, winning like 14 straight poles. I mean, this is bordering on that type of excellence. And today's competition level is much different than it was in the 70s.
Yeah.
They only had to beat a few guys to have
He's
those
got
things.
a few more years to go before he gets
I mean, it's amazing. And there he was late in the race, looking like it was going to come together again for him.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's in one of these pictures, but he was in a wreck too. I mean, he had some issues.
Yep. So it's just that kind of a place. But you run 600 miles, a lot of things can change. Let's talk about Kurt Busch and what happened to him. I mean, he looked like he was in great shape, and then turned out to not be in such great shape. He started alongside his teammate Ryan Newman on the all-Dodge front row. Newman blew up. The deuce got loose as we approached the halfway point. And here's what Kurt said.
I don't know what happened, guys. I got the track cooled down, and we went to crap, man. Feels great. I'm guessing we got a little right rear damage. Can't believe we're still around to tell you about it. This sucks, man. I don't know why we can't race at night.
He had the same issues the night before, where things didn't go like he hoped.
Yeah, it cooled off, and they were running well. They didn't take tires, and he ran really well, and then they came in and put tires on it, and then after that, he was just, you know, he couldn't drive it. It looked like just too loose, and then that happened.
Well, you know, a guy with the talent of Kurt Busch, he's probably sitting there today on his porch thinking, what happened? Everything was bad. I wrecked everything I got in, and that's not normal for him.
Yeah. Was there anything unusual about, I mean, since this has become a twilight race, I guess you call it, was there anything different about this particular run from the late afternoon heat into the dark of night?
To me, there was. For the last 23 years, I've been in that race.
I didn't think about that. Obviously, it was different.
And I wasn't in it either. So I wish we could offer an opinion.
You finised last, and I finished one spot behind you.
That's right.
Let's not elaborate on that. It might damage our credibility.
Oh, but shoot, you know, you got to call an ace an ace.
Tell it like it is.
The part of the racetrack I drove on from the start to lap 40, whatever, the track was real consistent.
Yeah.
You know, lots of, you know, fairly good amount of grip. I was surprised that the racetrack had that much grip in the heat of the sun.
Right.
I thought it was going to be real slick, and my car drove great.
Let's move on to our sometimes panel member who built that eye-opening early lead, but now has a problem. Lap 212. Listen.
So, I think I'll be fine. Yeah, boy, bud, you made it through Bristol. You're going to make it through Charlotte. 3150, 40 behind you.
Sorry, I kind of stepped on him a little bit. He lost his power steering. What happens when the power steering dies? Is it like my truck when you turn off the key? And
Not quite that bad, but
yeah, I think the biggest problem with his power steering is that it didn't quit altogether. It was intermittent.
Ooh.
So you can imagine, you know, how sensitive these cars are. You know, he's got the wheel turned. He takes more pressure, then it starts working. You know, and then it doesn't work. And
think about his line you saw. He's running an inch away from a concrete wall, going 200 miles an hour.
With the power steering coming on and off.
So he did an excellent job.
I think we should probably admire him for that.
Well,
Yes.
if we ever see him, let's give him a hug. He doesn't come around much anymore.
Yeah.
Now I heard Doug also on the scanner say, "Do you want us to cut the belt off to where it would be more consistent?
Yeah.
You know, it wouldn't be, you know, start working."
He did a good job. Bill Elliott in the 21 car this week. He's got a champion's provisional in his pocket, so the Wood brothers hired him to try to get that car into the top 35. So why are we talking about Carl Edwards?
Because he had a flat tire, and it showed on the lap tracker he was going 137 miles an hour when he got to turn 3, slowing down to come to the pit, and he overestimated his ability to get around that corner, took out his teammate, and then poor Bill, he just come wandering in there and couldn't figure out which way to go and had a crash. And this is big. Check this out.
A little bit loose.
Bush.
See, sometimes it's interesting, I think. You see a guy like, this doesn't work out at all. See a guy
Busch
like
again.
Kyle Busch, he got sideways, and a lot of times you'll see guys light up the rear tires when they get sideways. He did that for a second, but then he realized to lock it down, and when he locked it down, it kept him from wrecking then. But then a few laps later, the locking it down part hit the wall, and he wrecked later anyway.
Yeah.
And speaking of nice pieces of driving, check this one out. I don't know, maybe there's some connection between the sponsor and the maneuver. Driving for a company called 360. Jeremy Mayfield inspired to, yeah, it's just too obvious. And surely there is fuel somewhere in here for conspiracy theorists. We'll be right back.
The pile of broken cars gets bigger. It takes about a lap or two to get your breath back.
He did a complete 360.
Damn, if this ain't a race for Patricia, huh? Yeah, from about lap 40.
Welcome back. Let's see here in the Coke 600. A lot of guys have wrecked. Some teams are having trouble with handling in the run from daylight to dark. And Jimmy Johnson leads. No surprises there, I don't think. Brian Vickers running so strong up front may be a little bit of a surprise, and it's probably time we give a call to Matt Kenseth, 17 car. Near the front most of the night.
He was strong. Look at that move.
And he was unbelievable on the restarts. I cannot believe how fast that car is. It looked like about 10 laps, and then it started to slip.
Watch this correction. Got a little high. I'm going to stay off of him. Holy crap. What's going to happen now? I'm heading right for the wall.
That almost looked like the Jeff Gordon wreck, but he did a great job when he came back onto the pavement of turning to the left.
Did he do a great job?
I think a lot of luck. I think it was a lot of luck, and he had the wheel turned the right
And then when he
direction.
got done, he was going, made it.
Either way,
catch his
shouldn't
breath.
there be bonus points for any maneuver that has everybody going, wow, did you see that? I mean, that ought to be worth fun.
Well, plus the whole sponsor thing. You know, he did a 360 with 360 written all over his car.
Yeah. What is that?
I have no idea.
It was an inspiration for a brilliant
It was.
move. I loved it. Let's go on to a tale of two beer cans. Busch bending his all to heck first, and then Junior thinking about his sponsor. There's Kurt's crash.
Watch. Now, generally, you see Kurt get a little loose, and he saves it. He did not save this one. That wall is hard, too. I hit it Thursday night.
Now Junior.
Damn, I want a cold beer. It's going to be good when it's over with. Full Budweiser. And waiting on me after the race.
Yeah, we could probably do that for you, man.
Yeah, I'm going to want it.
That is a long night.
Give me a beer.
It is a long night.
Every year I hear from a handful of people who say that this deal, as they referred to it there on the radio, just too darn long, no reason to run 600 miles, no reason to... What do you say to those people?
Tradition.
Yeah, it's tradition. I mean, granted, it is a long race, and it's probably longer than we need to race, but and I say our sport has been doing it a long time. And
Can't we just leave a few things alone?
It's
Yeah.
cool to have that link to the past.
Yeah.
Please, please, please. Please, people.
Another driver on the rebound now. Look who Junior is racing for 4th spot. Remember that aforementioned speeding ticket? Why, it's Casey Mears.
Oh, man, sometimes they just don't stick right, do they, Greg?
I'll tell you what, that 25 car has got to have a ton of grip to be able to do that and not spin out.
Vickers' luck running out. Flat tire triggered it.
Looked like the wall triggered a flat tire.
Or
I think he's right, but
I think you're right.
when you look at the finishing order, he finished 5th.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't it weird? That car looked like it was totaled out.
It looked like,
Flat on one side. And
Yeah.
all bent up on the other
No
side.
power steering.
No power steering.
Plenty of gas, though.
We should admire that kid, like you said. We
He's
should give him some
skinny,
love
too.
next time.
He's tiny
that's probably why they got better mileage.
because he's so little.
Yeah.
Proving that even the best teams get it wrong sometimes. Here's the Here's the best team in a long time at Lowe's Motor Speedway getting it wrong.
But let me tell you, Dave, they get it wrong, but watch everything they do right after they get it wrong, and that's what a championship team does. They overcome adversity.
Absolutely.
We're going to take another look at this from the other angle and add the radio. Here's how it went.
Be ready. Stop, 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 stop. Get it, guys.
So Chad saw the official probably pointing at the rear tire. That was amazing.
How many ever times you been in the pit box and heard, ready, ready, stop?
Don't go anywhere.
You already were stopped.
And by the way, as you saw there, the Castrol Fast pit stop to Tony Stewart, Tony Stewart's crew. The guys get him off pit road first. I know. Jimmy didn't get a penalty. We'll get to that later on. I want your opinions of the 20 team at this point. Car wasn't very good all the way up to the race, and starting the race, Tony didn't have anything good to say about it, and the crew chief said, don't worry, we'll have something for you when it matters.
Well, let's rewind a week. Same thing happened in the All-Star race. He started off, he was terrible. And Tony Stewart said, I just got to get a feel for this tire. I need to learn more about this tire. And the only way I can learn more is to make laps. By the end of the All-Star race, he was really competitive. I think he took that same mentality into last night's race where he just said, that worked pretty good. By the time it gets dark around here, these tires will feel better to me, and I'm going to hammer it. And he did.
Yeah.
Long race, and he made the best of it. So Tony Stewart sitting at the top of the heap as the laps wind down. We need a commercial break. When said was done and the 600 miles was over, it was not Tony Stewart. Rather, it was somebody else celebrating. It was this guy celebrating, and we'll come back to see how that happened.